Oh, what's going on, guys? It's Horse Beef here, and I was originally going to post a tier list today, but then something came to my attention. At least not exactly in this moment. A couple weeks back, I believe it was, the Fighting Business on his second channel posted a video explaining how another channel called MMA Crazy has been copyright striking some of his videos, and he was forced to delete a good number of his videos, which in my opinion are all fantastic. He makes some of the best videos in the MMA scene. I would say compared to mine and a lot of other MMA YouTubers, we are creating slop compared to what he's making. High editing, high quality commentary, everything is fantastic coming out of the Fighting Business. Just makes such great content. And now his channel is at risk of being terminated altogether because now he's faced his second copyright strike from MMA Crazy, and there have been new developments regarding this story, and I think it's absolutely pathetic from the perspective of MMA Crazy. I think it's disgusting what they're doing, and I wasn't aware that it's being done on this scale, and I haven't even really consciously thought of whether I'm using MMA Crazy's footage or not from press conferences, because that's really all they do is record press conferences and then post them. You wouldn't think that they have the legal right to these press conferences. They're just simply recording them and then posting them, but they are using some kind of a loophole here to not only try and copyright strike fellow YouTubers and content creators on multiple platforms, but extort them at the same time. So Fighting Business, I'm not sure what your name is, man, but if you watch this video, I hope you don't mind that I'm using some clips from your most recent video, because I feel like the way that you lay it out is the way that people need to hear it. And even if I'm getting this message out to 10, 20 additional people on top of who you already reach with your massive reach in the first place, then I feel like I'm doing my part. So of course, if you don't like me using your content, I feel like that would definitely fly in the face of everything that your video has to do with. So I assume that you wouldn't, but of course, reach out to me and I will take down that content or edit it out at some point, because the main focus here is just to make sure that the message gets out there.
So this is the part where I introduced our very good friends, MMA Crazy. MMA Crazy is a media outlet that covers the UFC. You guys have probably seen some of their content before. They upload press conferences, highlights of their press conferences, and other form of media coverage. What they post is certainly their own footage that they recorded with their own camera, obviously, but the content itself, the fighter talking on stage, is recorded, shared, edited, and used for promotional marketing by a ton of other media members who are sitting in that exact same room. Basically, there are a ton of other journalists filming these pressers, so there can't be exclusive rights to what belongs to everyone here.
And that really is the main point that needs to be made here. This press conference footage does not belong to MMA Crazy. It does not. It simply does not belong to them. When it has the watermark, therefore, you're able to then send out fraudulent copyright claims, copyright strikes, even trying to instill fear in creators. And it wouldn't have been as bad, really, if it came down to them being disgruntled about the fact that other content creators were using their press conference footage. That's perfectly fine, right? And when I say fine, I don't mean that it's a good thing. I don't think that MMA Crazy is right for this. I think they're way overstepping, and they're clearly abusing copyright law. And this is not the first example, right? We've had many controversies over time of greedy channels trying to step on the toes of other smaller channels. But then we get into more nefarious grounds like this right here.
Combat Chronicles, Beast Mode MMA, and Paul Striker ENG, guys who warned me about this before it even happened, were also going through the exact same problem that I was facing. MMA Crazy had also sent multiple copyright strikes to their channels, and most likely many others. They were in some shit, and their channels, just like mine, were in danger of being terminated. Now you're probably wondering, why don't you guys just send them an email and see if they can remove the strikes? Just talk with them, right? Well, that's exactly what we did, and the response made us realize what this was all about. How much can you offer for the fragments of my copyrighted content you use without permission? Oh, so this is about money. Just let me know an amount and we can go from there, and I'll let you know.
So what I get from this, and what essentially MMA Crazy is doing, is taking the UFC's content, right, not repackaging it in any single way, not transforming it in any single way, right, doing what fair use actually is, posting it, and then copyright striking creators for using their particular footage, which is the same as all the other footage, by the way. There's no fucking difference. And then trying to extort creators, asking for a dollar amount to take these strikes off. How is that even legal? And how is YouTube allowing this to happen? In my opinion, this could even be grounds for some kind of a class action lawsuit where all these creators who have been extorted, or at least where MMA Crazy has attempted to extort, come together and sue these motherfuckers, because that is crazy to me.
I asked for an amount, not an explanation of fair use, and quite frankly, I'm taking that as disrespectful. I own the footage. You do not tell me about my own footage and what you believe it falls under. I do not care about any other footage you use, but if you use mine in any way, shape, or form, you will receive a copyright strike. I will no longer be replying or engaging.
Now, if 100% real, and I don't expect that the fighting business would fabricate anything to prove his point, I really don't think so. So I'm just going to go based off what we have on screen here. This is such a disgusting response. I asked for an amount, not an explanation of fair use, and quite frankly, I'm taking that as disrespectful. What exactly does that mean? I asked for an amount, not an explanation. So what you're doing is violating copyright law, right? Fair use law. You're going against it. You're essentially ignoring it altogether. But because the fighting business goes and explains why his content falls under fair use, you take that as disrespectful. But you're allowed to copyright strike his channel 2 times, put it on the verge of being deleted. But it's disrespectful that he brought up copyright law. You asked for an amount. Now, I'm not too sure. I feel like there is some kind of a loophole being used here to avoid blackmail law. I'm not too sure how it works over there in the UK. I think MMA Crazy is a UK-based channel. But saying I asked for an amount, maybe because they're not presenting their own dollar amount, maybe that will kind of allow them to skirt around blackmail laws. But as far as I'm concerned, this is as close to blackmail as it really gets. Because what's being done here is MMA Crazy holding the fighting business channel hostage. And like he said, sort of issuing these copyright strikes in quick succession in order to cause panic, right? Cause that desperation. So when you reach out, you say, hey, how much you want to pay us to remove these strikes, man? Yeah, we can get this all over and done with, turn the other cheek, go the other way. It's like mafioso type tactics right here, fear tactics, and it's absolutely fucking disgusting that this is allowed on this platform. Mafia type strong arming bullshit like this from channels like MMA Crazy that don't have a creative bone in their body, just pump out the UFC's content. They should step in. The UFC should be stepping in and putting an end to this shit, because creators like the fighting business, let's see, Mixed Molly Whoppery, Napoleon Blown Apart, right? Creators who really put together, beautifully produced shit like this, promotional work, right? Shit that really fucking gets the people going, because God knows the UFC isn't doing any work to promote their own fights nowadays. Channels like the fighting business are important when it comes to promotion. And I know it's a lot to ask for, but the UFC should really get involved and protect creators like him, because he's essentially working for them for free.
When this first happened to me, I made a pretty genuine video on the second channel, TFB Stocks, where you can see my authentic and immediate reaction to the situation. The support blew my mind, and a ton of you even went on their page to leave a comment, but funny enough, they actually never appeared. They were destroying channels, not taking any accountability while deleting and filtering through hundreds of comments.
For 4,000 pounds, I'll take off 3 strikes.
That was their message to Freak MMA, a popular Instagram page that covers the UFC.
It's simple. If I find my content on any page without my permission, I'll put through a strike. It applies on Instagram, YouTube, and any other platform that I find it on. 2,750 pounds each. Yeah, I just hope this is the last time.
That was their conversation with the biggest MMA page on Instagram, Full Violence.
Now, this comes across as a very well thought out scheme from MMA Crazy. So from their perspective, let's think about it here, right? We're going to produce, not even produce, sorry, that's very generous use of the word produce. They're obviously not producing shit. They're recording press conferences, Q&As, whatever, right? Eerily similar to every other channel out there posting their own footage of press conferences and Q&As, completely indistinguishable from all of the other footage that smaller creators will think nothing of it and just use MMA Crazy's footage, thinking, we need some B-roll, we need some filler footage, whatever, unwittingly leaving themselves open to being preyed on by these predatory individuals behind MMA Crazy.
What they're doing isn't just issuing a few strikes here and there. It's a deliberate, systematic attempt at bullying creators into paying them just to survive. It's about the power they hold over creators who have no choice but to give in or risk losing everything they've built. Yo, 4,000 pounds is like 5,200 USD or like 7,500 over here in Canada. That's a lot of money. Money taken from people who work hard to entertain, to educate, to promote the sport we all love. People who should be supported, not exploited. But instead, they're left with two choices: pay up or risk losing everything they've built.
I mean, come on, man. Even a video talking about his whole channel on the verge of being deleted is so highly produced and better and more engaging than 99% of content posted on MMA YouTube, and that goes for my videos as well, right? I'm not free of that criticism. My shit pales in comparison to the fighting business. This is not me trying to glaze this man at all. I'm just trying to get the point across that people like him, creators like him, are very important. They're very important to this scene. He makes some of the best shit that anyone in the MMA community puts out, bar none, 100%, and he should be protected, right? We should be supporting this man. I noticed there isn't a lot of that, right? After the fighting business posted his first video, I was thinking about making a video to support him, but I was hoping that there would be some kind of a resolution, so I held off. But then after this recent development, man, I couldn't keep quiet. I had to spread the message, and I would encourage any other content creator who happens to maybe come across his video, make a video supporting this man too. Because it's not just about the fighting business. Clearly, there are many other channels and pages affected by this, but it's also about what this could mean in the future. Right? How many startup channels will be completely ruined by this going forward, right? We need to put an end to this now. At least spread the message, and everybody just stop using MMA Crazy's content. Be mindful of which channel you're pulling this innocuous footage from, because clearly there are channels petty enough, predatory enough, and greedy enough to strike you down for using their completely unoriginal footage that doesn't even belong to them in the first place. So yeah, man, I just wanted to make a video to talk about this. There will be the tier list, as mentioned at the beginning of the video, posted tomorrow, so look forward to that. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. But this isn't even a video to be enjoyed. This is a video to get the message forward. Support creators like The Fighting Business, and boycott channels like MMA Crazy, who are trying to take the living away from smaller creators who may rely on this to put food on the table. I just cannot sympathize with that. So for me personally, I will not be consuming any content or using any content. Of course, I thankfully never did previously, but of course I will not be going forward and using any MMA Crazy content, and I would encourage all of you guys to do the same, because you know the result of it, and YouTube will apparently do nothing to prevent it, so you need to protect yourself at all times. But anyway, guys, that does conclude my thoughts. The Fighting Businessman, if you come across this video, just know I got your back in this, and I will make a million videos to defend you, because this is some bullshit. But I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you on the next one.